Ladies and gentlemen, here we are for Game 3 in this riveting best of 5 after what was an intense and back-and-forth Game 1. Millenium showed up in Game 2 to absolutely dominate Huma. We have to wonder, can Millenium now move on to take this 3-0, or does Huma have something else to show us?
Well, that's the big question right now, because for me, it's very much about the mental states. Not only have we had a 60-minute game, we've also had a relatively one-sided game from Millenium now, and I feel like as games progress, Millenium is slowly starting to find their form. For Huma, though, I feel like things are starting to hit them a little bit more emotionally. They're not executing the way in which they have done in the past. Their draft perhaps not as optimal as it could be. And while I don't think they've ever drafted a bad composition, they've made things a little bit harder for themselves, and they haven't been able to properly follow up from that. Because if we just look at the differences between Game 1 and Game 2, Game 1, neither team had a reliable way to start a fight because of the immense amount of disengage. Game 2, Millenium had a number of options, Huma did not, and it was always Millenium's the one making the plays, or if they fell behind, it was then them reacting and successfully being able to pull off the play because they had the options available to them. And I feel like for Challenger in particular, you need to give yourself options. You need to give yourself room to make a number of different decisions that can work out in multiple different ways. And when you tunnel on these heavy disengage comps, it makes it very difficult for your team to actually do things when you want to.
Lucian was bad. That's my observation.
I feel like his Lucian wasn't bad. I felt like
No, Lucian.
Yeah, his ability to get involved in the champion was bad.
Lucian. And I feel like when you're against an Ashe and a Morgana and a Zilean, like there's no room for you to get in. Yeah, this is my like. This is really comfortable.
This is a serious thought.
This is my comfortable stance. If you wonder why I sit like this all the time, it's 1, comfortable, and 2, I look way more serious. This is we'll call this the law and order. But I'll go back to normal now that you're mocking me. No, but I feel like there's...
It's fine. I like to do this.
There's I mean, I love hand motions too. Let's get it. Dang it, I'm back to the thing. Now you call me out and I'm self-conscious. Look, I had a point. The point is, it's really hard to play Lucian against compositions like this. And yes, you can outduel in a utility AD carry, but in a team fight where there are multiple threats barreling down on you, and you have to worry about a Trundle, but not only the Trundle, but the potential Zilean bombs that are attached to that Trundle, the potential Black Shield that's making it impossible for that Trundle to be CC'd before he can get to you. I mean, it just seems like Lucian is so vulnerable and so, I would say, unreliable in these exchanges. But at the end of the day, when we really look at it, it felt like it came down to Pretty's Zilean, because this man was absolutely unstoppable. You're going to see the stats on your screen. 93.33 kill participation, 20,000 damage to champions. Yeah, his damage to champion stat is not insane for a mid laner, but
it's Zilean. I mean,
it's Zilean.
If we looked at the amount of move speed he gave Ashe, it'd be off the charts. But we can't look at that.
It's a significantly harder stat to find.
But the fact that he's been involved in so many kills just demonstrates how much he was setting up tabs to be that hyper carry.
And the double bomb CC coming in fights, the ults time and time again, this utility pick, yes, it doesn't offer as much damage, especially when we compare it to K-Droll on this Victor, but we look at the actual gain, the actual impact here, and you can definitively say that the Zilean pick worked out much better overall. Yeah, Victor did a lot more damage. Victor was the key to winning a lot of those team fights for Huma, but at the end of the day, it just was not enough.
For me, just Zilean outscales Victor in terms of what they do. Yes, he doesn't match the damage, but it's so hard for a Victor to deal damage against a Victor, against a Zilean, because of the zone control of his bombs he provides. How many times was that Victor zoned away from a tower because they were just bombs placed either side of the turret? I mean, it's ridiculous. It offers so much control.
How do you get past this?
I mean, seriously, just do it now. Whoever's sitting next to you, just do this, get around it. I dare you, because I think you'll find that it's extremely difficult. And this is what it's like playing against
But the hands are bombs, and they'll kill you.
Yeah, so this is a safe do-it-at-home, version. So you can experience what it's like to lane against a Zilean without actually laning against a Zilean. Pro tips from Vedius. Mid laner extraordinaire.
Enlightening, Vedius. Thank you for that insight. Looking away from the mid lane, top lane was not as polarizing as I thought it would be.
I felt like it was just not an interesting matchup. No, I'm not going to lie.
No, I mean, I don't think it's that the matchup isn't interesting. I think it's more along the lines of when we looked at the way that Huma distribute the resources, JWoww was definitively in the lead.
Yes, he was.
Clearly the center of attention for resource distribution, picking up those extra waves, always on a side lane, grabbing, being the split pushing threat, and he didn't do anything on the Gnar.
And I feel like
he tried. But there's just, he couldn't. I mean, there was no opportunity for him to get in there, and it seems like they did not set him up for success.
I mean, if we think back to game 1, his gangplank was doing work. Like, he was in a big carry position. He was able to really have big impact. Those ults were on point. Then game 2, he's supposed to be on this lane bully. They didn't actively try to keep an eye out on the lane swap to get the standard 1 versus 1, and so JR wasn't put in a position where he could really be that hyper carry. And to be honest, I feel like Millenium are doing a great job of not only denying the Sivir away from Krislin so that they're always the one with the utility AD carry, but also they are the ones that are saying, we're going to make sure we always get the top lane matchup superiority, and it comes back to the choice of sides. Not once do Huma have blue pick priority. Not once can they shift up their bans, shift up the early picks, and it's resulting in, for Millenium in particular, to always early rotate the top laner. And then just get a matchup that will always benefit them.
So, I mean, looking at this, do you think it was wrong for Huma to assume that they would always want a single side?
I think it was.
I mean, I guess they must have just been so sure that whatever strategy they had would work out that they didn't want to go for it. But
I feel like just in general, you should always mix things up regardless. I mean, if you feel more confident on one side than the other, then maybe you use those early on, like the first 2 rounds, but then round 3, you just swap the round up. So at least if things have gone wrong, you have a change of pace, you can change your battle plan, and then game 4, you can just go back to what you were. But the fact that you've now committed to red side and it hasn't worked for you game 1 or game 2, I'm starting to be concerned, because how much more can they really change their draft?
It's going to be the big question, of course. Sivir ban remaining a constant here. Who am I going to take their time on the opposite side to respond? And the big question is, what do they focus here? Zillion's such a big pick. Utility 80 carries as well, also important. Ashe actually going to get banned out here, not wanting to let Tabs get those utility carries. Millenium keeping it simple, keeping it straightforward, keeping their first 2 bans constant here. Vladimir taking us away. Jhin, my God. The focus on Tabs right now is absolutely unreal. This man joining the squad, I mean...
So this, to me, says Caitlyn has to be somewhere on the priority list. It has to be. I mean, how could she's like the next best utility in terms of AD carries. With the traps, you can set up a lot around objectives.
And still solid damage output potential to carry those team fights.
You can still do a Zilean Caitlyn combo. It would work just as well. So
Shen Gangplank banned out as well, so they're keeping that top lane matchup out of the equation. Don't want those extra globals in there. I think that's smart, given that both teams did not look comfortable playing around them.
Yeah. Makes sense, especially taking Kazi away from that. It denies him a lot of options, but Olaf has been banned in every single game so far, as well as the HMA, and Millenium are just saying, right then, all right, we'll go for it.
So Olaf now picked up, Kaze not opting for the Ghost yet and Summoner Spells, so we're going to have to keep our eyes on where that one is going to end up. Mostly jungle Olaf. We have seen 1 or 2
We have seen Joko. Back in the day when I used to cast him in the amateur scene, he was bringing out Olaf jungle well before Olaf was considered cool. He was the hipster Olaf, as we seem to have referred to earlier.
All right, I would like to avoid describing a pick as cool during an analytical statement, just for future reference. Like, I appreciate that it's a cool pick.
It was the fact that it was, at the time, it was actually a really interesting and unique playstyle, because it had so much faster wave clear compared to champions like Elise and Gragas.
I just want a disclaimer. Olaf is not being picked because he's cool.
Nah, yes.
Olaf is being picked because he's good.
Bro, he's super cool, dude. Anyway, he is also very good. He works not only great in the top lane, but also in the jungle. Scales phenomenally well. Trundle's not a bad pickup into him because the Subjugate mitigates a lot of his ultimate, so it steals away all the defensive stats that he gains from the Ragnarok. But if you... I think that, actually, I'm not entirely sure who comes out ahead in that 1 versus 1. I think it would be close. When we saw it in the LCS, it was Cabo that came out ahead in the 1v1, but it was a super close one that could have gone either way if one had made ever so slight differences in their playstyle.
And I'm really interested to see how these teams adapt. Huma not really adapting too much thus far. Getting the Trundle, pretty standard top lane pick. Getting the Braum as well, this looks like comfort. Question is, are Millenium going to mix it up here?
Hecarim is available here. You could go for the Hecarim top, which is Kaze's ideal. I mean, talk about engage,
You could get Hecarim
right?
Karma here and just be like...
Oh, that is disgusting.
That'd be fast. He would be fast.
That would be so fast.
Fast comp.
And then, like, AD carries, what have we got? Ezreal is another AD carry that can offer a bit of utility. Because I remember a very similar strategy came out for Sonstar, for Giants, where they banned away a lot of his utility AD carries, and they forced him to play something else. He went to the blue build Ezreal, and he pretty much did a very similar thing to what you're doing on that.
Yeah, and interesting enough here, Karma now coming in, kind of as expected to pair with the Olaf, but mixing it up, making sure that they get that kind of comfort pick in the mid lane in the form of Victor. Now on the opposite side, something we didn't talk about after it was banned out in Game 1 was that Nidalee. We did not see Impaler prioritize that, but it is now being hovered over here. And if Huma do decide to go for the Nidalee, do you think we can expect Impaler to be much more aggressive in the early game, or is he just going to look to farm?
The thing is, it depends who the jungler is for Millenium, because if it is Olaf, his trading potential is actually very strong. The problem is his mana constraint. So if early on Huma could try and take away his blue buff, then I feel you could be as aggressive as you wanted. But the thing you always have to be aware of as a Nidalee into an Olaf is his chase potential is great with the constant spam of those undertows.
Yeah.
But that's assuming it's an Olaf in the jungle. If it's anything else like a Gragas or a Elise, then I would give a lot more confidence towards the Nidalee just wandering in and pretty much taking away everything.
Well, it is going to be the Nidalee in the jungle coming in on the side of Huma, as well as the Ezreal AD carry. Now, I like this coming out from Krislin. Not only are you taking a potential pick away from Tabs, you're also no longer playing Lucian, which I feel like could be a huge boon. Once again, Krislin not a bad Lucian player, simply that Lucian has not been an effective pick in this series thus far.
Krislin, Ezreal is one of his go-to champions. He's played it a lot throughout the Challenger series, has had some great success on it.
Absolutely.
Actually shifted more towards the Trinity Force build rather than the blue build, so he has a bit more of a mid-game spike rather than something like the late-game kiting style of play.
Yeah.
But it definitely something that definitely works for his playstyle.
Absolutely 2-0 on it thus far in the Challenger Series. Have to see if we can make it 3-0 here and start to tie things up. Once again, pressure is on for Huma. They need to draft something that's going to work. They've got decent poke coming out here thus far with the Nidalee and the Ezreal, but on the opposite side, Fiora and Lucian locked in. This is... I mean,
dope.
What is this?
It's dope. It's cool.
Okay, once again... Okay, actually, side note, agree. This is sick. I am excited to see how this team works. But now, how does this team work?
How does this team work? So you're setting up... So initially I wanted to set up, say you want to set up for a 1-4. Yeah, 4-1 is probably what you want to go for here. You have good disengage with the Victor and the Karma. Again, the issue I have is whether Lucian really fits in this. You have pretty good team fighting. You have a lot of mobility available to you. You're relying quite heavily on the Olaf flank if you actually want to start
There's no disengage here.
No disengage is a pretty strong term, because you have the gravity field and you have the Karma ult onto the E, which gives the entire team a movement speed
fair.
buff. So and Lucian is naturally mobile, so you do have a fair amount of mobility available to you. But in all honesty, they're just setting up Kazi for success. They want Kazi to be the big carrier.
This is top lane. Really odd. I'll be honest.
It's a good pick into Trundle, though. It is a really good pick into Trundle, because you don't build tanky, so we can't steal very much with the Subjugate, and your ultimate does true damage, and that regeneration will give you the same sort of regen that the Subjugate would. And in terms of dueling, there's no better one than the Fiora herself. So it's a pretty positive matchup for Fiora. The big issue I could see is this Impaler jungle on the Nidalee.
Well, and additionally, now we've got this Varus mid. We have like the picturesque poke comp built out here by Huma, which is all about these mid-game advantages. And I feel like Fiora may be an amazing duelist, but as always, if Trundle gets really far ahead, there's really just not a whole lot of counterplay there.
To be honest, I'd still give it over to the Fiora as long as she doesn't fall too far behind. She scales like a monster. I honestly can't think of very many people that can outduel her. The only one I would give is Aurelia mid-game Trinity Force, but even then, that's quite a skill matchup too. So I think that the Fiora is a terrifying pick, but you can shut her down. She has a big early-game trough that you can bury her in. So, but the overall comp, I like the idea from Huma. If they're not great, if they have no way to force hard engage, then just build a composition that doesn't require any fighting at all. Constant poke, immediate disengage with the Braum with the Ezreal, the Pillar from Trundle 2, the ultimate from Varus. You can just basically sit at arm's length and be like, nah. You can stay over there. I'm not going to fight you. I'm just going to constantly poke you down, force you up these objectives, and pick up whatever I want for free.
Absolutely. Of course, guys, this could be your last chance to head on over to Twitter and tweet out hashtag MILWin or hashtag HMAWin. Millenium look to close out the series. Or if you have faith, if you believe in Huma and that ridiculous traditional Trundle splash art, let him know.
Ridiculous? That looks awesome.
He does look awesome, but like, that's weird. It's a weird pose for a troll.
To me, he looks bored.
I think he just looks super jacked, which is like, which is cool. Like, I'm good to know that Trundle's super buff, but...
I mean, he is a giant troll that lives under the sea. No, under a bridge, but you know what I mean.
I don't think he lives under a bridge, does he?
No, he doesn't. I don't know why, but the SpongeBob theme just suddenly came into my head.
All right, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the potential final game in this series. Will Millenium close this out, or will Huma flip the script, turn this one back in their favor? Kaze potentially in trouble here.
Nah, he's fine.
Quick skip over the wall. No problem. And it looks like, once again, standard lanes. Lane swap last time opened up for a lot of aggression. I wonder if we'll see the same aggression in these 2v2s. Gonna be curious overall.
All right, so possibility of a lane swap. I feel like Millenium wants standard lanes. If anyone's going to lane swap, it will be Huma. But because the deep vision that Millenium were able to set up, they're going to know exactly where Huma are. And so we are going to see standard lanes all across the board, which is super awesome. I'm glad we don't get another lane swap. Means for some potentially exciting stuff. No real hard crowd control coming out from the actual laners early on from Millenium, so it could be pretty hard for them to set up a gank. But you can argue that the same thing is over for Huma. They do have a bit of pseudo crowd control with Wendelbow if he can land the Q. And same for Kadril, once he hits 6, it becomes a lot easier. But Impaler just has so much damage, as long as he can land a spear, he's definitely going to force a flash at us.
And these are not very crowd control heavy lineups overall. We look at the opposite side. I'll be honest, I'm really skeptical about how this is going to unfold for Millenium, because while Huma have a very clear goal with their composition, Millenium have 3 champions who are really good at dueling, in Olaf, Fiora, and Lucian. Yeah. But these champions don't feel like they pair well together at all. Like, no one's going to be able to protect the Lucian, because, yeah, Olaf is a frontliner, but he's a frontliner because he runs in and threatens the backline, right? He doesn't offer CC, he doesn't offer disengage, he's just scary.
Like, the thing for me is, Caitlyn would have been really good here, okay? Because against this comp in particular, you actually could have put her in a side lane. There's no real threat other than the Trundle. As long as you have the Fiora constantly online with the Trundle and you maintain good vision control, there's no reason why you can't allow the Caitlyn to sit in a side lane. But have a look at this. Invade from Impaler.
Oh, still going to get the red buff, though, from Joko. Suddenly he's in
dead.
trouble. There's no way he's going to make it out of this one. Go in for Impaler. Is he going to be able to grab first blood? No! Are you kidding me? Oh, Impaler! You just got dunked! My God! Bromacia.
Joko, what was that? That was unbelievable. You should not have won that trade, but this is the threat of an Olaf when he gets so low. Just look at him. Look at the lifesteal.
Oh, no.
He's able to stay alive, but Impaler, because he just turned out of Cougar form, had no abilities left.
Oh, no.
And Joko gets the 1v1.
Impaler, I am sorry, my friend, but that is not a moment you wanted to have. Tarnishing your career. You can see the aggressive trading in the bottom lane, but giving Olaf first blood. You delivered it to him nonetheless. He's just clearing his jungle, and you show up and you give him a kill.
We talked about how if the Olaf meets the Nidalee in the jungle, I'd be very worried for the Nidalee, and largely it was because of the mana, but he had the blue buff. He could throw out those constant undertows, but I still, with the low health of Joko, I expected Impaler to go down. Oh, sorry, I expected Joko to go down, but what a big play here in the Challenger Series.
It's just stunning. How does that even happen? Now
do you want a replay?
I mean, we could look at it again, because something had to go wrong here.
It's because he changed out of Cougar form. He used all of his abilities. He used to swipe the leap, and he wanted to get the auto attack reset, but that was it. His full combo wasn't enough to get the kill. Maybe he should have made a slightly bigger gap so that the spear would have done more damage. There are so many little things you can look at, but yeah. I mean, overall, the reality is Joko refreshed his double buff. He's already got his Stalker's Blade and boots. I mean,
it's a fast Olaf.
That's
I mean,
a great way to start.
The good news for Impaler is that he will be able to continue to outclear the jungle, because you can see Olaf spent so much time on the top side that Nidalee was able to catch back up, but not where you want to be. And unfortunately, feeding the Olaf, never a good choice. At this point in the game, though, I mean, it's just a small gold difference, and we're going to have to see how that snowballs, where that Olaf can apply pressure, because right now it hasn't really amounted to anything. Joko, of course, will have that ghost up soon. Maybe can look.
He's only had the kill for like a minute, Steeper. what sort of pressure do you put on the man?
These games have been so fast, time just flies by for me. Suddenly,
level 5 to level 4, jeez, 5 minutes in.
Double
That's
buff
crazy.
to no buff. Sorry, Grunt buff. I forgot about Grunt buff. Impaler had Grunt buff.
25 to 18 farm. I mean, that's one of the things that Olaf is great at, the close speed. This is something that we mentioned earlier about the Olaf previously played by Joko, because that was the meta of things like Jarvan, Lee. You saw Elise in there as well, a couple of Gragas. And the big thing for them was their clear speed wasn't especially high. Whereas Olaf actually brought an insanely fast clear speed relative to all these people.
Relative to Jarvan and Gragas.
Yeah, relative to Jarvan and Gragas. Now, have a look at Wendelbo. He doesn't know that Joko's in the brush.
Oh, no, that's a death sentence. There's no way he's making it out of this one. There simply is not a way to stop an Olaf. The axes are going to keep hitting. He's going to have to flash over the wall. No follow-up, but in comes the Nidalee. Suddenly, Chrisland's locked up. The snare comes in. Tabs dashes forward. Can he get it? Heal still available to flash out. Suddenly it's a party in the bottom lane. JWoww, what a burst of damage! Parry comes out, JWoww sets a fall. Millenium are taking control, 2-0 up, just 6 minutes in the game.
Kaze came in with the level 6, JWoww was only level 5. He wasn't expecting all that true damage to come out from the side of Kaze. And then with the combined damage with the rest of their team, they secure themselves another kill in the bottom lane. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure why this teleport even came out in the first place. Wendelbo, he wasn't expecting Joko in the brush. He's forced to flash out. Chrisland, for some reason, tries to get involved, ends up getting back. At this point, you cancel your TP because there's nothing for you to help out with. Yes, Impaler's there, but how are you going to be able to deal with this three-man squad of Joko, Tabs, and Kaze as they just wipe the floor with Huma?
Wait, did he get the stun off of the parry via the displacement of the pillar? Is that what I just witnessed? Because that was sick, if that's what he did. He positioned himself such that the pillar is going to give him the stun. It did.
It did.
Oh my god, that's dirty.
Yeah, he actually
that is some outplay potential coming in for Kaze. Oh no, JWoww. Oh, okay.
Good eye there, Mr. Seafill. That was a great spot.
That was, I mean, I'm not, because you know, you think about parry, like, yeah, it's going to block if you...
Because if you get any CC'd in that ability, then it immediately stuns you back, so...
Yeah, and apparently the displacement for the pillar more than enough, even if it doesn't do any damage.
JWoww now, Dan, as well as the Sightstone for Joko, so he's going to have so much more control over the map.
Oh,
JWoww, he needs to be careful.
In comes the axe, in comes Joko, but Impaler's here as well. That big ward will regenerate. Clear that one out. We'll have to see if JWoww wants to step forward. Impaler maybe hoping to bait this out. They do have a lot of burst damage with the Nidalee backing them up. Mid lane actually going in favor of Victor so far. Kadril, no damage now that he's had to buy that tier, but now he's looking for the all-in. Suddenly Kadril in trouble. Flash out. Good exchange coming in for Pretty. Huma look out and broken, honestly, just taking bad trades left and right.
I mean, largely this is based off of the fantastic lead that Joko was able to get because he's just feeling so confident. And now that Tabs picking up that assist early on, just look at the amount of AD he's sitting on right now. He is so strong this early on into the game. 121 to the 105. The tier Chrisland, he's just not going to be able to trade back against this Lucian Karma duo. And
absolutely serrated Dirk as well for that extra armor penetration, so really starting to hurt. The one good bit of news for Huma, honestly, is the CS lead present in the top for JWoww. You know, 15 lead, doing relatively well as he starts to push in here. Fiora not really comfortable trading out in these 1v1s.
No, he certainly is not. So just taking stock of what's happening right now, Millenium extending their vision deep into Huma's bottom half, which is a bit of a surprise given that you typically want to be playing around Kaze right now, and that means that Impaler moving through the river is going to get spotted out by a pink, and Kaze can read the situation well. He knows that a potential dive is coming. Can he get the outplay, or will Huma just forget about it and say, no, this is way too risky?
Yeah, maybe just saying some extra jungle farm here. Hoping to take some of those camps away from the Olaf. You notice blue buff did go down onto Tabs on the bottom side of the map, so it's going to be easy for him to continue to apply pressure. Has the AD advantage, has the mana advantage as well. Surprise arrow from the brush from Varus, not, or is going to connect, but not a ton of damage there on the Pretty. All these lanes, I feel like, perfectly set up for some 1v1 fights. We just gotta kind of wait to see where the junglers are going to apply pressure next.
I mean, as Joko, just your presence is enough pressure, is it not? Does he actually have to gank? Is this mighty Viking as Kaze takes a bit of damage up in the top lane, but here we are, he's looking for mid.
He's getting burned down, suddenly he's getting aggressive in the mid lane. Kadril in trouble, but there's no way to stop him. My god, they're simply too powerful. How do you deal with that Olaf?
You don't
know. Coling going down. Wendelbo is going to get blocked out by Chrisland. One thing Huma have been good at is body blocking for each other there, but that's been about all. Millenium extending to the 2K gold lead. Alt going to head down the mid lane. Will clear out some of those creeps. We're going to follow it all the way.
Now, when you said Wendelbo, he's in trouble, for some reason when I heard that, it was like, Wendelbo, no! that's how it came out to me. And this is the problem with you having pet names for players, okay? We need to stop this.
Look, why is it a pet name? Why can't I just be incompetent in my pronunciation?
All right, that's fair enough.
All right. We'll give him the real talk. Boo, Wendell Boo. I'm gonna need you to carry, my friend. I don't give a term of endearment like that. If you,
because things are looking rough for Huma right now.
Because things are looking rough, man.
You've got some crazy Techno Viking just storming down the mid lane with his disco ball buddy, Pretty, setting him up for success.
Yeah, Techno Viking, protector of robot-faced man.
Oh man, I don't know. Joko, if he's not a fighting type, I don't know what is. Because he just runs at you, and there's no way you're going to win a fight against that.
What is that, like, what? Yeah, man.
He's super effective against the normal Varus in the mid.
That's true. I don't know if Varus is normal.
Well, he's a human. I consider all humans normal.
Everyone in this game is, except for Trundle, is a human.
And they're all normal types, unlucky for them.
Uninspired, Venegas. Uninspired.
All right, well, we're not going to get into this discussion once again.
I mean, I feel like we always come back to it.
Let's be real. Karma's definitely a psychic.
That was late from Kaze. Can he actually turn this one around? Impaler it. No. Are you kidding me? Oh my god.
Go proc the passive!
Oh, one more. What?
Kaze, what are you doing?
What is this? Dash out, flash out. What was that 1v1?
I don't know.
They're both so scared.
I honestly don't know. Did Impaler think that someone was coming? Did Kaze think that he couldn't commit? Because I honestly think that Kaze could have won that duel.
If he had hit it and then dodged the next spear and then got actually... Yeah. Well, listen, whatever's happening, Millenium are continuing to extend their gold lead. They're burning through these towers. Yes, Huma are going to get one on the bottom side, but it's a tier 2 that's going to drop for Millenium, and the gold lead is going to extend to the 4K mark. Pretty potentially in trouble. He's just going to sidestep on that spear.
And Millenium with a big tempo advantage, faster with the rotations up top. Joker there to support. They secure themselves 2 turrets up in the top lane very quickly, and this is the convincing Millenium that we were hoping to see. I mean, which Millenium would turn up? Would it be the regular spring split playoff, or was it going to be playoff Millenium? And right now, I know it's taken them a slow start, but they have gradually gotten so much more confident. And we've talked about the emotional state. Impaler tried to be his old aggressive self, where he went into the enemy jungle and looked to make a play, and ends up getting horribly punished for it.
Horribly outplayed, unfortunately.
I mean, is it an outplay? He stood there and just hit it.
No, I mean, yeah. Well, he made a mistake or he got outplayed. I feel like... Okay, semantics. Joko potentially going to kill someone else. Grabs the axe, throws another one. Gonna pick this one up. Ghost coming out. The fight is going to continue here. Wendelbo suddenly the man to get sacrificed. Cannot stop the Olaf, but Impaler moving forward. Tab's doing a lot of damage. Krislin jumps forward. He wants the 1v1, but he's going to pop. Joko's still alive and healthy. TP comes in goes the Fiora. Wendelbo gonna get slowed down here. Hopping back to safety, gonna try to make it out, but Pretty wants some blood. Ooh. Double kill down for Millenium. Kaze, will he get turned on? Can he do anything back? No, he can't. Huma get a kill in return. This game absolutely full of fights thus far.
And Kaze, he made a bit of an oopsie. He tried to go over-aggressive, picking up that kill onto the support, which he honestly didn't need, especially seeing as Wendelbo also had his exhaust available, so there was very little chance of Kaze being able to successfully get that one. But Impaler goes to the aggressive invade. This time he has the support of Wendelbo, so he feels pretty safe. Joko decides he can force a fight right now, and with the support of his bottom lane, things are looking pretty positive, but Tabs gets pushed back very quickly. Krislin hyperly aggressively goes in with the arcane shift, ends up getting punished for it. This is where you see Kaze. He thinks he has enough CC, but good ability control from Wendelbo is enough to force the disengage. And then the flank from Cadril ends up punishing him for it. But it doesn't matter because Pretty picks himself up a kill onto Impaler as well.
And almost kills Cadril again.
And almost kills Cadril again.
Things going pretty well for Millenium. 5-1, 4K gold lead, up 2-0. Things don't get much better than this.
You can't ask for a better start. I mean, especially when the enemy jungler just gives you a free kill.
Yeah.
I say free, it wasn't free. That was hard-earned.
Yeah. I'm just stunned, honestly, that this has turned so quickly in the favor of Millenium. They are ripping through Huma, and Huma are just not responding. Joko just doesn't even care. They're fearless now that they have this gold lead, but what is it going to cost them? Right now, nothing. Millenium backing away, Huma unable to punish, and they continue to grow their lead.
And Millenium trying to get a bit of deep vision down, but they're not pushing in as far as they can. To be honest, it's not much of an issue because there's no real objective to play for. But look at the flank from Joko.
Oh, here they come. That is an unstoppable Olaf Wendelbo, the sacrificial lamb, or will Cage will be the next one to fall. Joko just doesn't care. Chaos Storm backs him up, and Millenium are going to grab another one. That's the double kill for the team overall. 15 minutes in. Almost a 6K gold lead. Huma, hope has to be fading for these guys.
Oh, get dunked, Cadril, because Joko, he is here to play. And right now, with 5 members strong, they have the minion wave, they have the wave clear. They're looking to try and break into the base.
Tower steadily falling. There's no minions left. Backdoor bonus going to start up. Minion wave comes in. They're just going to back off. They don't need to risk this. They can take their time. 6K backing them up.
A pretty
Impaler, hungry for blood. Is he going to get it? Yes! Ult coming out from the Trundle just for some style points. Wants the gold for himself. Joko now potentially in trouble. Is still going to get tagged up. Impaler's hungry. He wants to turn this back in his favor, but if he gets snared here, will he drop? Masterwork throwing a lot of poke. I mean, Huma gets something back, right? They're starting to even it up. It's not a 6K gold lead anymore, but
what do they get back? Yes, there's a big minion wave in the top lane, but Kaze, he's going to be able to clear it out pretty quickly. The collapse is coming out from Impaler and Krislin. They have enough damage, but can they get the outplay?
Dash forward. Will he look for the parry? Isn't going to use it quite yet. Does use the ultimate masterwork on the way in, giving him the extra mobility. Just the disengage coming in from Huma. They're going to settle for this tower. Cadril looking to make it 2 as he pushes in the mid lane. Huma getting something back here. Over aggression from Millenium costing them. A lot of damage on that mid lane tower for Millenium, but what is it going to be worth if Huma are able to start to even this gold lead up? Only 3K separating them now. It was just 5K moments ago.
All the waves are pushing in favor of Huma right now. Joko, I don't think he wants to try and force the fight, or maybe he does.
He does. He's so big. That's Cinderhulk, Sightstone. It's 17 minutes in, and no one can hurt him. Ghost available, Ragnarok available. He is playing with his food right now. Impaler, though, not going to be worried this time around. Sees the 3 stacks 4. Is just going to hop over the wall. Suddenly, Wendelbo getting much more aggressive as he starts to look in here, but he's going to get popped in the end because Pretty simply does too much damage. Krislin going to have to try to make his way out safely, but Cadril should be ready with the poke any moment now. They have the disengage option. Fiora, though, continuing to push up the bottom lane while Huma and Millenium are trading blows here. Fiora just continues to farm up, finally starting to even the difference, or even up the difference between her and the Trundle.
And now Millenium, once again, looking to reclaim control. Joko looking for a repeat of that 1v1.
Ah, yes, Olaf's greatest natural enemy, the wall.
It's like a Dalek and stairs. Simply because he doesn't run the flash, he's not able to follow up on the escape from Impaler. But then, even if he had flash, Impaler could have then just flashed back over the wall. And Joko would have been like, why, walls, why? Why must you always stop me?
Why must you forsake me? I mean, what do Huma do? They just have to. I mean, they just have to defend, right?
What do Huma do? Well, Baron is a good point. I mean, we've seen Impaler get a number of steals, but it's largely because they have a composition that hits a big spike come the mid. They're really good at poking, but the poke doesn't really do very much until you start grouping up, and you can't really group up until you've completed your items. And for Millenium, they haven't given Huma the opportunity. And remember that bot lane triangle? One of the best ways to deal with poke is sustain. However, you can counteract that if you have a 106 Olaf that can run onto the poke's face.
I think we call that the hard engage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more like the soft, unkillable engage.
It's more like an avalanche, but yeah, we can go with yours too.
For soft, unkillable.
So here we go. This is the poke we were talking about.
Potentially jungle cleanse. Into the QSS, but it looks like Pretty's still set to fall here. Good timing from Cadril. Huma starting to regain control of the mid lane. Fiora going to back off, maybe looking for the flank. Pings are coming out. Are they going to get it? Joko's still very powerful. Still so many members strong. Pings going into the mid lane. Fiora taking her time. She's going to head back bottom. Cadril just looking to toss some shots down. I don't know if they have the wave clear to take this care of this. Wendelbo can block this one out too. He's going to jump forward. Starting to get aggressive. In goes Impaler, but did he overstay his welcome? They are going to get the tower in the end. Joko has to back off. Ragnarok used up. Fiora on the way up. I mean, Huma making moves to get back in. They're only 4K behind.
So they are using that poke to their advantage. Pushing down Millenium off that mid turret is going to give them a little bit more control over the map because now all tier 1s are gone for them. Impaler successfully stealing away the red buff this time round from Millenium.
Yeah, no more silly Olaf there to contest him.
No more jungle Vikings to deal with. And he's going to be pretty happy with that one, but he is currently sitting at 0, 2, and 1. And this hyper-aggressive Impaler that we're so used to seeing, especially on the Nidalee, I feel his motivation to be aggressive was taken away from him pretty early on.
Absolutely.
And then Joko, honestly, has been doing a great job of setting up ganks all around the map. Picking up the early sight stones allowed him to control a lot of the enemy jungle. And the problem came when Huma did actually group up and they started using that poke. You started to see the difficulty that Millenium were dealing with because their composition does rely heavily on a flank. So if you're running at your opponents, it's very predictable, and there are many ways you can play around it, especially if you get all this damage down before you really give them an opportunity to go for that hard engage.
Stealth Bush coming in, Masterwork and Joko. That's a duo you cannot get away from unless you have a wall. Krislin, he might not have a wall, he might not have time. He makes it out. Flash trying to make it to safety. Impaler's running for his life too. Joko running forward. So aggressive, but he is going to be able to make it to safety. Krislin has to burn everything, but now comes the turn. Flash in from Wendelbow. He wants to make a play. Joko, will he get burned down? It looks like it. Coling coming in on the backside. Suddenly Fiora is in the back line though. TP forward. Pretty's on the way in. Trundle's coming in too late. No, this is disastrous for Huma. Trundle finally arrives, but Kaze already got the double kill that he wanted. Rather goes to the mid laner. He's still doing well. Suddenly Kadril in trouble. Is going to make it out. What a bloodbath. Is going to be an even trade in the end. It looks like 3 for 3. Top laner, mid laner left up on the side of Huma. Millenium keeping their mid laner and support.
Oh, what a tense fight between both teams. And it all started off with Joko walking into the enemy jungle, trying to force a fight, which unfortunately for him, the wall was his greatest counter. They weren't able to get the collapse down onto Krislin, and then he didn't quite land the axe. There was no follow-up, and this is when Huma feel, right, we can go for the re-engage. The flash ultimate from Wendelbow locks up Joko, and he is the first to fall, but the instant teleport, they know they can go for the commit, because look at the flank coming out from Pretty. This is just a multi-man ultimate waiting to happen. Quick Zhonya's from Impaler, but it's not enough to stop the relentless damage coming out from Kaze. Good avoidance, or good flash even from Kadril to reposition in a way that means that Pretty can't get the finish up. And it ends up being a 3 for 3 overall. JR was doing a lot of work in that fight as well, but still very close stuff. And in all honesty, if Joko had his ultimate earlier on, and he didn't waste it on an unsuccessful dive, things could have gone very differently for Millenium. And right now I do feel like in the all 5v5 fight, it will be Millenium coming out ahead. So Huma, they need to avoid it as often as they can. They just want to rely on this poke, an objective focused play that their composition revolves around.
And additionally, we have to look as these Muramana start to come online. There's going to be a lot more damage here. Krislin's going to hit a lot harder. Varus is going to hit a lot harder in these extended fights. He's just a few stacks, or he's actually a decent amount away at this stage of the game. Getting that all the way stacked up. So we'll have to see when that comes online, but this is really when they're going to be strongest for these fights. Joko, though, no fear. Getting this vision down, he knows that one member alone is not enough to stop him, and as long as he has that Ragnarok up, he's relatively safe to go in. He's just going to run right at Kadril. He doesn't even care. Are you kidding me? Dash in, knocked out. Millenium are tired of playing footsies with Huma, and they're just going to run in for the engage.
Joko says it's time to dance with Kadril, and he just can't keep up with him. That's also going to force Krislin to back off as Millenium, 4 members strong, are going to look to push down the mid. And look at that big minion wave in the top. That's also pushing in the base of Huma.
Have to keep their eyes on it. Poke coming down on the wall. Wendelbow doing what he can to disengage. Millenium with a big advantage. Varus, a lot of the wave clear for this team. Ezreal clearing what he can. Joko getting aggressive. They're moving forward. They're going to barrel through this one. Impaler jumps in. Is going to use the Zhonya's in the end, but I think he's still going to fall. Tries to make his way out. Huma disengaging. Pretty potentially in trouble. Dashes in. Is he going to have the support that he needs? It looks like he's going to be the sacrificial lamb. Shut down for Krislin. Can he make it a double? Yes, he can. Huma swinging this back once again. It looks like Millenium may have overstepped.
And now JWoww, he has full health. All 5 members of Huma are still alive. Joko is incredibly low. They could look to just rotate round and pick themselves up a Baron.
Oh, they know what's going to happen, though. Millenium, what are they going to do to respond to this? As you said, Joko so low. Coling not available for tabs quite yet. I think they're going to have to give this one up, and the gold going to move back. Yes, they may be so far down in objectives on the side of Huma. But with this Baron, they may be able to swing it all back in their favor and take this series to a Game 4.
Unbelievable. What looks so promising for Millenium ended so dreadfully as they commit for the turret. At this point, they disengage, but instead they try to go for the fight. They try to get the collapse onto Impaler, and then Pretty's left up a creek without a paddle because he gets stuck between the entire lineup of Huma as well as that pillar to just deny him from his escape. Kaze then meets the same fate, and that pillar just was so impactful in what enabled Huma to win that fight and secure themselves a Baron. So gold lead still in Millennium's favor. Control of the map still in Millennium's favor with the amount of deep vision that they have. Huma, they're going to respond with another dragon, which will be the Cloud Drake. But still, the fact that Huma have gotten themselves the Baron means that they can buy more time, allow this poke composition to ramp up a little bit more, and establish a little bit more vision. Because if they can deny these flanks, deny the hard engages and collapse coming out from Millennium, then their composition can really start to shine.
Absolutely. Have to see exactly how that's going to work out. And additionally, as we move further in the game, the Trundle's going to be so valuable for limiting the way that Olaf has to get into these fights. Once again, walls. Relatively reliable way to impede Olaf's movement. The one thing he's not immune to. Huma, though, finally grouping up to push. This is where the poke comp, as long as it wards those flanks, as you mentioned, is nearly unstoppable.
Look at Fiora coming in for a potential flank.
Trundle's in the bottom lane. Surprise onto Kadril once again, but the TP's coming in for Trundle. Can they get it? Joko's unstoppable for now. They're dashing backwards. Wendelbo going to fall. Tabs on the front lines. Will he go down? JWoww all alone among 5 members. He's not tanky enough. Miscommunication from Huma means a double kill dropping in favor of Millenium. Fiora unstoppable. She dashes forward. Hitting those autos. Will Impaler fall? Has a little bit of extra armor. Can he make it over the wall? No. Kaze gonna grab that Millenium in control, and they're moving up the mid lane to burn down this inhibitor.
Fantastic flank coming out from Kaze. He knew that so many summoner spells were unavailable. He tried to force the flight. The TP was so late from JWoww, and we saw exactly what we saw very early on during the game, where the teleport should have been cancelled. It was far too late into the fight before it was actually useful. And Millennium, they picked themselves up another team fight win. So have a look at this. Kaze being the initial engage, drives straight onto Kadril. You have the double flank coming in from Joko as well, meaning Huma collapsed on 2 sides. And then JWoww is just left on the backside to deal with all 4 members. And Huma, they only have poke left. This composition isn't built for team fighting. And so when you lose your disengage and when you lose your front line, it's easy for the rest of Millennium to just get themselves the cleanup. They do that, they get the inhibitor, and all of a sudden this game's flipped back on its head.
Exactly. With the inhibitor now down in the mid lane, the Baron buff fading fast. Things are once again in the favor of Millennium. 4K lead, backing them up with the inhibitor down. It should make it easier for them to pressure out on these side waves. 10-3-0 the score for Pretty. An absolute monster in these last 2 games, the Victor and the Zillion. Doing so much work for their team.
And look, Masterwork hasn't died this game either. I feel like Pretty has said to Tabs, okay, you've had enough limelight, it's time for me to shine, because he has 10 kills, 0 assists. Well, look, Tabs has 0 kills, 10 assists. So clearly this time, Tabs is building for Pretty, and he is allowing Pretty to be that hyper carry that Millennium needs to come out ahead and take this 3-0.
Joko waiting this time. Doesn't want to get too aggressive,
He's
but
waiting
does
for
have
walls to disappear.
I mean, the thing is, he does have the flank.
And that's what they need, so...
Oh, they see the Olaf.
Here we go.
They should see the Olaf. There's the TP. There's no way out. There's absolutely no way out. Millennium are collapsing. Kadril's in trouble. Is he going to drop? It could be. They're moving in. Kadril will he go down? No! Joko drops! What a turnaround, but Kaze still alive. Tabs on the front line showing us how to put this Lucian to work. Impaler, will he be able to get it? Dash out from Kaze. He's going to dodge it. The spear not going to connect. They're moving forward for more. Huma running. Trying to get out. Krislin wants to go back in. He wants to play. He wants to fight to turn this around. He knows the game is on the line. Pretty taking some poke damage. Alt comes in across the backside. Side steps from Millennium. They're moving up the mid lane. Huma behind them. Biting at their heels. Trying to turn this back. And the turnaround comes in for Millennium. Kaze jumps onto the front line. He moves forward. Parry buying him a bit of time. Krislin still poking out so much. But JWoww, he's running out of health. The front line running out of time. Millennium turning this.
This fight is so drawn out that Kadril and Wendelbo are about to respawn. The same for Joko. And Kaze, he still wants more.
Will he go in for it? He's going to be marked out. He's going to be seen. Masterwork trying to get the snare down.
Just disengage, Millennium. There's nothing left for you to fight for.
If they get greedy here, it could cost them so much. And we're going to take a look at that replay one more time. as the teams walk away.
So the collapse comes out from Joko. They quickly get the shutdown onto Kadril, but he just buys so much time that they have to lose Joko in return. But with him gone and with no teleport available on the Trundle, it just means that a 5 versus 4 or 4 versus 3 ensues, and Millennium start to look for the cleanup. So initially it's only a 2 for 3, and then it's just a back and forth because there's no objective for Millennium to take. Very unfortunate that they're sitting in the mid lane. And yeah, no real gain, just a lot of summoner spells. And even then, I mean, Kadril already didn't have any summoners, so overall, yeah, it was a great fight, but nothing actually happened as a result of that.
And I feel like with the gold advantage that Millennium have been able to build up, that was actually a really well-fought attempt by Huma. And Masterwork's actually going to drop here. There's no Zillion to save him this time, but there is Illusion on the way in. He's not going to drop in the end. Millennium backing up their support. Has to be careful with that aggression, though, as they move forward. And Impaler clearing out a bit of vision in the jungle. Baron up in just 1 minute and 13 seconds. Dragon 1 minute away as well. And Fiora's pressuring out on the bottom side. Gonna have to see if JWoww can actually stop her. No TP available for the Fiora, but JWoww has his. This could be an opportunity for an advantage to be gained by Huma for them to turn this one back.
Keeping my eyes on Kadril summoner spells as well, because remember, he has been the primary focus for a lot of Millennium's engages, simply because he is the easiest one to shut down. Not only is he level 15, but he's a big part of their crowd control, he's a big part of their damage, and without any dashes, he's just the quickest target for the rest of Millennium to kill. And so as long as he has his summoner spells, he's going to stay alive for that much longer, but Joko, his ghost is up as well. He's decided to not build any damage into his kit. He's going to go full tank. He's actually decided to go for the Frozen Heart as well. Surprised he's decided to... It looks like he's working towards the Spirit's Visage. I feel like that's unnecessary, but still. Perhaps a Dead Man's Blade could have helped him out regardless. He is still one tanky Mama Jama, as the Dragon is just spawning. Baron up in 5 seconds. Huma looked to be posturing around that neutral objective, whereas right now, no one is putting any sort of emphasis on this Dragon.
I don't know why they would try to fight for the Baron, though. This is putting yourself in that funnel against an Olaf and a Fiora. That just does not seem like a good idea on the side of Huma. I mean, they need the vision, they need to control this area, but they do not want to go head-to-head in a tiny little arena with the Olaf and the Fiora.
I mean, they know that Kaze's TP is down right now, so they could be trying to force a cross-map play because there would be no way for Kaze to join in.
But they're now bringing the fight to Kaze on the bottom side of the map.
Logic.
Maybe they want it. Maybe they're confident in their ability to execute here. They've got, I mean, Varus is about the strongest that he's going to get.
They killed Joko beforehand, didn't they? And he threw everything at Kadril, who had no summoner spells, so they're looking to do the same again as Joko running towards the opponent.
Oh, Tab's taking a lot of damage there. JWoww suddenly in trouble, though. Joko on the front lines, but he's only hitting the Trundle. Ooh, Joko actually taking a lot of damage. Keep your eyes on Krislin. No ult going to come out. Millennium suddenly have to disengage here.
That Subjugate was actually massive onto Joko. Remember, he gets so many bonus stats for when he uses Ragnarok that JWoww can just steal away. So that big tanky front line just ends up having a lot of health, but is actually very squishy, and all this poke can do a great job of just shredding through him. So even though Millennium hold on to a gold lead right now, things are looking a little bit better for Huma. They had a very, very rough start.
And we have to keep in mind, too, I mean, okay, so I don't know exactly how this works, but keep in mind that the passive of Ragnarok is, of course, that Olaf gets bonus resistances. When he cracks that ultimate, he loses those bonus resistances and gains damage. Now, if you ult the Olaf before he Ragnaroks as Trundle, right, do you steal resistances including the bonus resistances? And then when he loses them, are you stealing that much more? It seems like Olaf goes negative in terms of tanky stats in this Trundle matchup.
It would be more valuable to steal before he ults, because you get the bonus armor and magic. It would be higher, so Subjugate works by stealing basically the amount of armor and magic resist that he has at the time.
Which means that he's technically... I mean, yeah, it's definitely better. Never mind, we're going to get too deep here.
Yeah, there's too much math to work out.
Impaler just
Point is,
Zanya's.
use Subjugate on Trundle, makes him... Trundle? Use Subjugate on Olaf, makes him squishier, easier to kill.
Yeah, use Subjugate on Trundle if you're in a Trundle mirror and blind picked.
Yes.
In which case, no one's tanking. Or you're both tanking. I guess nothing happens.
I don't know what would happen there.
Trundle mirrors sound terrible.
He's waiting for the potential TP, but he's just going to... Joko, you need to chill out, mate, right? You don't have your team just there. Oh, masterwork.
All right.
Sneaky.
Yeah, getting these little advantages.
That's actually quite valuable in the late game because the slow that it does provide is pretty great. Now, we could potentially see this 1v1. Look at this late game Fiora.
Oh, Kaze dashing in. Decent amount of true damage there. JWoww heals up so much, though. I actually feel like as long as that tower's there, Kaze cannot really kill the Trundle.
Yeah, he can't. I mean, it's tower. Tower plus champion wins, unfortunately.
But champion plus champion versus champion plus tower might not.
Well, we're about to find out as Joko setting up for a potential dive, but look at the support. Chrisland and Wendelbo moving that direction. So that means stalemate right now. Everybody patiently waiting. Baron is the big objective play on the board. Gold gap has maintained at about 4k, which is pretty good for Huma.
Absolutely.
They haven't allowed that to widen.
Elder Dragon the next to spawn, whom of course the sole owner of the Dragon buffs that far. Earth, Wind, and Water.
Ooh, here comes the flank from Joko.
Oh, rinse and repeat. We've seen this one before, but Kadril's actually really actually faster than the Olaf at this stage of the game. Once that ult falls off, be ready for the turnaround. He is going to have it if he gets the opportunity, but Joko goes forward. He's no longer immune to CC. He is going to get the ult down from Varus. Gravity Field goes to make sure that there's no follow-up. Krislin trying to get a bit of extra damage in, but it's just a trade of spells in the end. 2 for 2 in terms of spell trades. Kadril giving us the flash and the ghost.
But I think Millenium can be happy with that because now if they try to set up another play onto Kadril, he is going to be so much more at risk. They're quickly moving around to the Baron. They know they have full vision control. Huma, they're going to have an idea that this is going on, but right now they cannot see it. Tabs is not in the pit, so that Baron is going down very slowly.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got the Olaf, you've got the Fiora. They're not taking any damage here, but on this attempt, we got to keep our eyes on Impaler. He stole so many before. Kadril as well. Pretty was he can have the gravity field. They move forward, trying to zone this out. Krislin potentially in trouble. The fight is going to start. Healing reduction going down. Suddenly Kraze jumps forward. Are they going to be able to get anything else? JWoww disengaging the fight as best he can, but Joko is moving on the front lines. Fiora and the Olaf unstoppable. Kadril burns down. Tabs, the frontliner that they wanted. Krislin leaps to safety, but Millenium absolutely own the fight in that exchange.
Yes, they do. Millenium, they forget the Baron. They force the fight. Pretty, he wants to get a little bit more as they chase down onto him. But I think they're wasting their time because the rest of Millenium are going straight back for this Baron. This play will give them so much more opportunities to siege into the base of Huma. And what a fantastic fight overall. Millenium forced the objective they know they need to force, and now they're going to pick up this objective.
No, not going to be enough. Moving in, but wait, here comes Impaler. Impaler, can he get this? He's thinking about it. Does he have the vision? They're stacking up. They're ready to kill him the moment that he goes in. What can he do? Tabs trying to zone him out. I don't think he's going to be able to get it, but Krislin may be able to get Tabs in exchange. They're going to get the shutdown, but the Baron drops in favor of Millenium.
Tabs, that was a worthy sacrifice. You guarantee the Baron for the rest of your team, but have a look at this. Pretty takes so much damage early on. I think he's not even going to be able to get involved with this fight, but Kaze doesn't care because he's just sitting on the front line doing so much damage. He takes out Wendelbo initially, he then moves his focus onto Impaler, and meanwhile on the back line, JWoww is just stuck trying to kill off Pretty, who he just can't deal with because the damage is unbelievable. Kaze did so much work in these late game team fights, and who supposed to be as a split pusher is just easily able to just outduel everyone. That was largely because the majority of that fight, Huma were just trying to run away. You see Impaler trying to set up the flag. The vision, they know where Impaler is, but Impaler, he's trying to buy time. They know they can't. So Tabs just says, I will die for my team, goes over the wall, buys the time, and while he does lose his life, he guarantees the Baron.
The martyr the team needed. Dying for the cause there in the end. Millenium now pushing up. Looking to maybe to break that inhibitor in the mid lane next. Keep in mind, the Summoner spell is still really not there for Varus. He's going to have to use the Ghost here. The one he does have remaining as Joko just continues to run forward. A GA now backing up the rest of those tanky stats. No Ragnarok burn, but the trade of Ghosts.
Siege setting up in the mid.
Yep, tension building for both these teams. Huma know it's all or nothing here in this defense. JWoww really no tools to defend this one, but they can look for the collapse on the Kaze. Spear going to go wide. Kaze knows the team is coming. Can he make it out? What can he do? The rest of the team is moving up the mid lane, and Kaze is buying so much time, creating so much space for the rest of the team. They're going to be able to break down this inhibitor. Millenium now have to look for the disengage. They're a member down. Huma, can they get the follow-up?
They're just going to trade that inhibitor for Kaze's life. He still has his teleport available, but he is going to lose that Baron, which is going to greatly affect his ability to split push. The Elder Dragon has spawned. Huma do know that they have the numbers advantage, and if Millenium want to try and force a fight, they are going to be one man down, so they might just have to concede this big objective.
Krislin throwing out the ult, maybe hoping to get some poke. 30 seconds left. They know they've got the man advantage, but the Elder Dragon may be enough to swing this in the favor of Millenium. Are they going to go for this play? If they overstep here, it could cost Millenium so much. He's trying to get cheeky. He's considering trying to go for the steal here. Joko sped up, does have the Ragnarok, can run forward. The Dragon is so low. Are they going to try to take it? The Olaf, can he get in? No, Impaler's going to secure it. Huma take the Elder Dragon. Now they have the advantage in the fight. Millenium, they are running for their lives. JWoww throws up the pillar. Joko in trouble. He has the GA, but I don't think it's going to mean anything. The true damage rips through those tanky stats. Tab sticks around to fight. In comes the Fiora TP. Can they turn it? Pretty taking so much damage. Impaler goes in. Beautiful. Zanyas comes in. Kaze runs forward.
Look at Kaze!
Oh, shut down the arrow from nowhere. Impaler trades his life. It is a bloodbath in the mid lane. Looking for the disengage. Arrow lands onto Kaze. He dashes forward. Is he going to be able to get out? Exhaust goes down. Uses the ultimate. The duel. The challenge. Will it be enough? Tabs 1v4. The last man standing. What can he get? It doesn't look like a thing. Huma, what a beautiful fight as they trade 1 for 4 in the end.
That was the objective that Huma needed to force. They knew that Kaze wasn't available. Even if he did have teleport, he wasn't going to be up fast enough. And in all honesty, Millenium should have just left that objective overall. Wendelbo gets forced low. The Blood Rage fills Joko's eyes, and he is desperate to try and get something back, and it results in them overextending. Millenium split up. Another great pillar coming out from JWoww to cut off the escape of Joko. And meanwhile, just look at Pretty. He eats so much poke. He eats a spear, he eats an arrow, he's then going to eat another spear later, and now finally Kaze joins the fight. Things are looking promising, but there's the flash
arrow
from Kadril to get the kill. Impaler ends up going down. At this point, Millenium just back off. There is no need to continue on the fight. Why do you want to invest all those resources just onto a support? Tabs gets consumed by the Blood Envy too, and he ends up going down as well.
The lust for blood nearly overwhelming for both teams here as they continue to push forward, but you can see at the end of the day, as Tabs drops, that things are just working out very well in favor of Huma in that last exchange. They're still down gold, but as we approach the 45-minute mark, you gotta understand that it really doesn't mean too much. So many members are already at 6 items or approaching that threshold.
I mean, people just need to be aware that dragon types are only weak against ice, and when there's no ice on the board, you just can't force those fights. As Pretty goes in for another.
For the exchange here. Oh, is he going to be able to make it out of this one? CC coming down. Wendelbo going to get locked up. Beautiful gravity field. There's a lot of ultimates used. What can Millenium do? Huma are just running it down the mid lane. They don't even care about the super minions. They're setting their sights on this tier 2. Flank coming in from Millenium. They're getting split up by the pillar. Joko, the only one left standing. He's taking so much poke. He has to use the Ragnarok here. That could have been a big mistake. Colin comes out, blocked up by Wendelbo. He's taking a lot of poke. There's no flank coming in either. Krislin even jumps forward. Is that not going to be a mistake? But Huma, they're starting to swing this back. The goal only 2k difference now. It's irrelevant at this point in the game. The 3 dragons Huma took earlier in the game worth significantly more.
Huma are fighting for their lives right now. They know that if they lose this game, they are going to lose their opportunity to fight in the LCS promotion tournament and the finals of the European Challenger Series. So they want to keep that hope alive, and they are doing whatever they can to keep the game as even as possible. Krislin using that Blade of the Ruin King down onto Kaze, perhaps a little bit preemptively, but now they're not in a great position. All of Millenium pushing down the mids, but that inhibitor, it's not available right now for them to take.
They're just trying to apply pressure, trying to force something. They are going to force the backs to come out from Huma. They're just going to regroup. Millenium, they have the super minion wave. Can they win the fight?
No, what a weird play. I don't know what they were doing there. Look at the sideways.
I mean, a minute left to Baron. It seems like now the priority should be to try to get that vision control down on Baron.
Instead, they run down mid with no inhibitor to take.
And now they're going bottom and backing. Baron's up in 40 seconds.
Huma could just rush this. I mean, they have the double 80 carry. They have the Trundle as well. This is looking a little bit worrying.
There's zero vision here. There's zero vision for Millenium.
Oh my word, have Millenium just made a monstrous mistake.
Joko's
Joko getting
out.
caught up. He has the ult.
There's no way they can kill him at this point, but...
Well, I mean, they can kill him.
I mean, if he stays, he can be in run. Let's be clear here. He has the option to just leave. at any time.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, why has okay, I do understand why Kazi's gone the QSS. It doesn't remove Subjugate anymore, though. But perhaps a GA might have been more valuable, perhaps? I guess time will tell.
Now we're going to have to see. Both teams. Baron.
Just quickly, want to give a big shout out to Masterwork. 0018 right now.
Yeah, Righteous Glory Karma.
Oh boy.
Athene's Unholy Grail.
And he still has a spot for a pink ward.
We need an Ardent Sensor. That's what we're missing.
Nah, mate. He needs pink wards.
No. Bloodthirsty.
So Joko taking a bit of poke, but his fancy feet. Fantastic right now.
Now the split push is beginning from Kaze, and we are approaching the stage of the game where Trundle should not be able to win that 1v1. And Huma are going to have to take a moment here and really decide what they want. Baron or that bottom tower. Pressure's on them to make the decision. Kaze just can push until the time comes
Kaze
from
could just
TP.
loop mid and take the inhibitor if 4 members of Huma are here.
Oh, Millenium disengaging out. Dash forward from Krislin. He's isolated now. Masterwork taking a lot of poke.
Oh, that
comes in. That is 3 members low. There's no way that they can do anything else in exchange. Trundle is backing off to make sure that the tower will not drop, and the rest of the members are pushing forward onto the Baron. Kaze, I think this could be disaster for Millenium. Huma are going to move in to take this next Baron.
They have to give it.
Olaf, what are you going to do? No vision. What? He's thinking. He's going to waste time in the mid lane. Hesitation comes in from Joko, and the answer is not what they needed.
This is exactly how you play this comp, though. You just group up. The enemy team can't hard engage on you because you have decent vision control, and then you just poke them down until gradually they get low enough that you can just force an objective, and that's exactly what they do now. Millenium have to wave clear against a Baroned-up poke comp that is really good at taking down your towers. And they've already struggled. They've had to give away a Baron already. How are they going to be able to defend the rest of their base? They have to find some kind of fight. Summoner spells are up for a lot of the members of Huma. No flash on Krislin, no ghost on Kadril. But where's the vision? Where's this deep vision that we were talking about earlier on? Because you have to have it to set up these TP flanks.
And this is when the poke comp is truly terrifying, backed up by these minions. The additional AP and AD, happy to have as well from that Baron buff.
Alright, so he sold his QSS for what looks like a mortal reminder. Screw defensive stats, we just want damage. Look at this, they might meet in the jungle right now.
Oh, a lot of poke goes down on the Kaze, though. The Fiora just not tanky enough to deal with all this late game damage. Joko's running for his life.
He's dead.
I mean, that AP Nidalee just shuts you down the second you respawn.
And that's it. Huma, they pick themselves up a kill.
I think they can end.
60 seconds on top of Joko. And the Huma really going to end this game right now?
Are they really going to be able to take this to a game 4? Huma looked down and out for all of the early game, but it's starting to swing in their favor here. They are going to be able to at least break this inhibitor. 46 seconds till Joko.
They could actually end.
They could definitely end. This is going to be one final opportunity to hold here for Millenium. If they can win this fight, they can end the game themselves. The Tabs going to get caught out. Nothing used quite yet. Huma, are they going to push? Are they going to get aggressive here? 30 seconds left on the Olaf. Pretty taking a lot of poke. Gravity Field already burned. He has the ult available. Throwing some poke down onto Krislin. Ezreal goes out. Solid Zhonya's, but Huma are pushing forward. They're looking to end the game. There's auto attacks are hitting the tower. Wendelbow potentially in trouble. Kaze leaps forward. He's in trouble as well. Masterwork on the sides. Things are going well so far. Kaze is going to dash out. Tabs gets Wendelbow. Millenium are going to be able to hold, but a tower is traded back. No! Tabs! Dash forward. Krislin wants to get aggressive. Impaler's not going to get it. Overextend. Krislin, he's going to drop. He stands still because he knows he's finished. What does this mean?
Kaze,
he's TPing into the side. He knows he can get something, but he has to be careful. He can't win the 2v1. Dash forward, going forward, going forward. Masterwork speeding him up. Can Impaler get away? I don't know. It doesn't look like it. Does he have the flash? No, no option left. My God, Millenium, have they turned this around? They're pushing down the mid lane. 40 seconds left, 60 seconds left on Impaler. Kadril backing out. Joko pushing up the mid lane. Masterwork, Tabs makes the hero play in the base, backed up by Pretty. And now the 3 remaining members are pushing up the mid lane.
This is it, Millenium. They're looking to try and end the game right now. They only have an inhibitor in their way. There are no super minions pushing down the mid. Only Kadril and JWoww can stop them from ending this game. No. Can they do it?
Backing out, they move forward. Can they get it? Dash in. JWoww. Is he going to be able to get it? They're trying to turn this around. Huma, can he turn this back? No, suddenly there's a meat grinder and Millenium are in the middle of it. Braum blocks all of the damage. No, Millenium, are you kidding me? Are they going to turn this around? It just keeps going back and forth. The double kill for Kadril.
The TP!
TP into the base. There's only one tower left. JWoww, can he do it? He's got the minion wave as well. Oh my god. Huma with the turnaround. A massive win coming out for Huma. Tabs, he's going to turn back for a little 1v1 glory, but it's not going to buy him the win. Huma, style points on the closeout. JWoww, the long, slow goodbye coming in as the Nexus drops, and Huma push out the series to 2-1 as they take it back from Millenium.
Oh my word. I was not expecting Huma to turn that game around.
Wow.
The late game decision making from Millenium though.
That comp was bad. Let's be honest.
Whoa, which comp?
The comp that got entirely and totally blocked.
No, now. Whoa, 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 whoa,
Yep.
whoa, whoa. Let's not
it.
forget, early game they had a monumental lead. Their control in the mid game was ridiculous. That game was theirs to lose. The problem was just the poor control of vision. They set up so many good fights for themselves, but how many times did they run down mid?
You're right.
Did they run down mid to then get nothing? I mean, I saw them do it twice, maybe even 3 times, where they're just like, hey, let's go mid. Oh, there's no inhibitor. Guys, did you know there was no inhibitor here? Like, wait, there's no inhibitor here? What the? And then they didn't get anything. And then when they back, they send their members bottom with no TP on Kaze, and the Baron is spawning in 30 seconds. Everyone has a timer. Everyone can see. And I just... it was Millenium. Millenium threw that game. Millenium gave the option for Huma to come back in, and with the comp, it was just a matter of time. I mean, it was great execution the way Huma and Millenium just group mid. Huma poke. 3 members all down. And instant Baron take win.
And we look at it. It's Trundle and Braum are such a great front line at that stage of the game. Like even if Olaf makes it through, he's the only member who's making it through, and you're not going to beat out the 3 members remaining at that stage of the game. Olaf cannot run through the Nidalee and the Varus and the Ezreal. And the range difference here was massive because Impaler and everyone, the Ezreal, the Varus, the Nidalee could all do so much damage anywhere in the team fight, whereas you constantly saw Olaf, Lucian, and Fiora just have to be right up in the front line, right up in the thick of it, and it felt like, all right, come at me. You know what I mean? Like, Olaf wasn't enough of a threat for damage in the late game. He just didn't have the reliable damage, even if he had the tanky stats. And Fiora constantly getting exhausted in those team fights, and Lucian, all of his damage.
Fiora did work though. That Kaze did massive work on that Fiora.
Absolutely, but we look at the late game team fights, and we have to I mean, Braum's shield blocks an entire character's worth of damage if it's well placed. 30 to 40,000. I mean, I didn't look at the gold, so 10 to 15,000 gold maybe from that Lucian, entirely eliminated from a fight in the late game.
But there are just 2 things that I want to really highlight from this game in particular. Number 1, we should stop picking Lucian. Not that I thought... I mean, Tabs played an even better Lucian than Krislin, but what was he doing in these late game fights? How difficult was it for him to actually regularly get involved in things? And 2, if we just backtrack to that final fight where Kaze had to make a decision between going for the Trundle and the Nidalee, if he had gone for the Trundle, Millenium may have well been able to end that game because the Subjugate wouldn't have been there, the big tanky front line. That one decision could have resulted in a 3-0 for Millenium.
Absolutely, but with the set at 2-1, the pressure is on for Huma and remains that way, although they have managed to get something back. Stay tuned as we find out if they can perform the reverse sweep, or if Millenium will close off the series and move on to the finals. Oh, still going to get the red buff, though, from Joko. Suddenly he's in
dead.
trouble.
He's
There's
dead.
no way he's going to make it out of this one. Go in for Impaler. Is he going to be able to grab first blood? No! Are you kidding me? Oh, Impaler! You just got dunked! My God! Bromacia. Flash it from Wendelbo. He wants to make a play. Joko, will he get burned down? It looks like it. Colin coming in on the backside. Suddenly Fiora is in the back line, though. TP forward. Purdy's on the way in. Trundle's coming in too late. No, this is disastrous for Huma. Trundle finally arrives, but Kaze already got the double kill that he wanted. Rather goes to the mid laner. He's still doing well. Suddenly Kadril in trouble. Is going to make it out. What a bloodbath. Suddenly Kraze jumps forward. Are they going to be able to get anything else? JWoww disengaging the fight as best he can, but Joko is moving on the front line. Fiora and the Olaf unstoppable. Kadril burns down. Tabs, the frontliner that they wanted. Krislin leaps to safety, but Millenium absolutely own the fight. And TP into the base. There's only one tower left. JWoww, can he do it? He's got the minion wave as well. Oh my God. Huma with the turnaround. A massive win coming out for Huma.